is here. Back-to-back champ for the whole damn year. They shut it down because they couldn't compete. Every record I break, they admit defeat.
Well, hello, folks. Once again, Logan Pettis here on the Logan Pettis Show. That's why we call it the Logan Pettis Show, because, well, it's my show. We're going to try something different again. I don't know if this is working, but we're trying the Facebook live stream. Hopefully they've worked out the bugs, and we've got this here, so thank you for joining. I will start off by saying a big thankful in this spirit of, as of the recording of this, we are just days before Thanksgiving. So I guess this is our Thanksgiving episode, and we have a lot to be thankful for. I have a lot to be thankful for. I'm thankful that every time Brandon Oliver gets a wild hair, I get to do something cool. And I got to do just that. We're going to take a step back. We're going to look at Sunday's RCW Acceleration show, and we'll see what we get into from there. What are you thankful for in this Thanksgiving season? Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you are thankful for in this Thanksgiving season. Well, we'll start off RCW Acceleration. By the way, you can catch the recap of RCW Acceleration live on Title Match Network. We want to thank Taurus Irrigation for sponsoring RCW Acceleration, of course, and Liz Klaus and Jamie Fell, thank you also for sponsoring our event. Pre-show match, K-Jax, the returning K-Jax versus Devin Carter. K-Jax, this is also the month of Veterans Day. Back November the 11th, we want to thank K-Jax for his service. K-Jax spent some time away, but K-Jax came back, returning to RCW the night before. He helped out the Texas Treats at the hybrid event, and so that's going to be an interesting alliance. Is K-Jax actually a member of the Texas Treats? We will see what comes of that. Devin Carter, of course, former international champion and one of the all-time favorites for RCW fans. Devin Carter, also a former Future Legends champion. And yeah, so that was a decent match put on by two of the best that the Hybrid School of Wrestling has to offer. Always love a good showing. Both of these guys, great athletes, great talents. Love Devin Carter to death. So there you go. Great match. Then, of course, we get the awesome moment. Carolina Teague comes out, and we'll get to her in a moment. But Carolina Teague comes out. She hypes the crowd. She does what Carolina Teague does. And then she announces one of my favorite moments of the night. She announces that the thick daddy thoroughbred, adorable Anthony Andrews, the guy that held this very belt right here for 3 years under yours truly's management, and greatest international champion of all times, thick daddy thoroughbred, gets to come out, and he took my place on commentary. And I know what you're thinking, but where does that leave you? And we will find out in just a few short minutes. But first we have Brock Ali versus Epidemius Jr. And this match, won for the books. This was a great match. Again, two young blue chippers got in there and tore the house down, and people loved it. Brock Ali looking to level up at RCW. And I would say that he did. I don't want to give away the results of the show, but Brock Ali brought it because I want you to get on Title Match, of course, and I want you to watch the recap, the rebroadcast of the show, the rewind, if you will. And so, yeah, Brock Ali leveling up. He gets an upset victory over Vin Parker, and so then at this match, he steps up with Epidemius Jr. We got speed, we got skill, we got TNA. Kinda. Total non-stop action, that is. Move for move, hold for hold. These two guys, again, they brought down the house at the Good Shepherd Lutheran Activity Center. Fantastic match. I'm not going to rank stars. I don't feel like I have the ability to do so. My criteria and your criteria are two different criteria, and I'm also not a wrestler. I've watched a lot of wrestling in my lifetime, and I mean, I guess I could, but why? It doesn't matter anyway. But anyway, fantastic match. And then we move on to one of the coolest moments of the night, and that is my good friend, my colleague, the woman who came on this very show and said wonderful, sweet, lovely things about me. And again, this show, Miss Carolina Teague, she makes the announcement that your general manager will be your special guest ring announcer for the evening. And so I got to come down and, yeah, I got to ring announce half of the show. In starting off with this match, which was an exciting match. Now we have the brand new RCW Women's Tag Team Division, and if you remember, it was supposed to be Alejandra Quintanilla, La Leona, taking on alongside Ridley Thorne at RCW Honors against Fire and Fury, the terrifying Morgan Mercy and Nova Phoenix. And God, those girls are scary. They're even scarier when you're up close. Like, I've been, sitting over at commentary, or, I've been in places, and the closest I've been is like the entryway. But no, they were like right here when I made the announcement. And anyway, Ridley Thorne got injured and was out at RCW Honors, and so she was replaced by the lovely Denise Day, and it made a pretty formidable tag team, the team of La Leona and Denise Day, and they called themselves the Wild Dreams. And yeah, they captured the first ever RCW Women's Tag Team Championships, and that will go down in history as being the first ever RCW Women's Tag Team Champions. So very cool moment for them. Well, they took on Morgan Mercy and Nova Phoenix. And if you've seen my videos that I've posted online, I'll give this one away because I had to make sure that I get out there. And your new Women's Tag Team Champions. That one's for Howard Finkel. I always tell people I went to the Howard Finkel School of the Projected Voice, and that's how I get to be a ring announcer. And so pretty soon, not only will I be the manager of the year, I will also be ring announcer of the year and hopefully commentator of the year. And if I keep playing my cards right, maybe I can wind up referee of the year. I might have the match of the year. I can be male superstar of the year. Like, it will just, I think 2026, folks, is going to be my year. It's going to be the year of the boss of the ring, as if the last, several haven't, because let's see, I won Manager of the Year in 2021, 2022, and then they just canceled the thing because they're like, this guy can't lose, so therefore, by default, I've won 23, 24, and 25 as well. So, 2026, bada boom, bada bang, bada bing, I'm your guy, right? Okay, moving on. So, yeah, we have this match, and Fire and Fury do what Fire and Fury do. They were mad, these girls were angry, and they made pretty decent work of the Wild Dreams. Dream over. We woke up real fast, and now we're in, like, the nightmare era with Fire and Fury. And let's see, match number 3 was Brick Savage versus Gino Medina. And this is one of those matches I talked about on the last show. I booked just because I knew that you people would love it and be entertained by it. Brick comes out and he's angry, He's like, how dare you, Gino? You want to come back to RCW and act like you're all that? Well, I've been here. Which is an interesting statement because, he's been here, a couple of times now. But Brick, very dominant, comes in. I'm not going to get in Brick Savage's face and argue with him, folks. Have you seen this guy? Like, he's named Brick for a reason. He's like a wall. I'm not messing with him. But he comes out, and he and Gino had a heck of a clash. It resulted actually in a double DQ when members of the hybrid students had to come out and break up a regular Pier 6 brawl out there, and one of them actually ended up taking a knock to the chin and was laid out on the ground for a good little while. So yeah, you're going to want to watch that match. Definitely watch that back on Title Match Network. Another banger. This show really was. This show I felt was was to coin the phrase banger after banger after banger. To me, and Sean Cotner will argue with me on this because he said, no, 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 no. But to me, this show felt like this could have been RCW Mania. Like this show had kind of a big match feel to it, and it may have been the fact that they had, the most awesome ring announcer in the history of ring announcing, ring announce. And by that I mean, of course, Logan Pettis, whose show you were watching. But no, so to come out there and get to do that, again, if you can't tell that I'm more than excited about getting to be the RCW ring announcer was cool. That's a job, I'll tell you this before we get into match number 4, which I was the ring announcer for. Match number 4 was Armani Sage and Luigi Primo, but I had originally wanted to be the RCW ring announcer like a long time ago, and they had a ring announcer at the time. Well, okay, they had a ring announcer, and he was called Crimson Shadow, and he was at best. And then they had this other guy come in, and I didn't like him as a ring announcer. I was like, oh, no, wait, never cared for it. And so I was like, can we please 86 that guy? This guy right here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I do this all the time. Welcome to Worlds of Fun. I do this, okay? I used to do this for fashion shows at the mall, like Maurice's and Deb's and American Eagle and Claire's, and all them would get together and they would have these mall fashion shows. My mall had this really cool stage that had a moat around it, and so we'd do the thing, and I'd be like, what she's wearing is the new American Eagle Airy Henley crop top, featuring, the low-rise boot-cut denim, blah, 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 and a lovely shantung sheath gown. So I did that for a long time, and I've done various things as an announcer, and I always wanted to be the ring announcer for RCW, and I ended up Boom Boom's personal assistant, and then from Boom Boom's personal assistant, I was a manager for 4 or 5 years. And then, like I said, 3 of them, Anthony Andrews was the international champion, which I also helped him win. Boom Boom and I helped him win at RCW Young Guns way back in the day. But yeah, in between this ring announcer and then they got Handsome Javi to come in and be the ring announcer, and I just whatever. I was Boom Boom's assistant, and then I became a pretty successful manager on my own, and then I kind of took over things as the general manager, and now, I got to pull double duty as the announcer, and that was a very cool moment for me. So, on to Armani Sage versus Luigi Primo. So, Luigi Primo, he make the best pizza. He's the best pizza chef. Let me tell you how it's gonna be. I'm gonna come into the ring, and then this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna serve up a dish, shut the hell up to the mouthy Armani Sage. This kid, Armani Sage from Chicago, Illinois, again, I can't hate him. Can't hate him. Throws money around, talks a good game. He can pretty well back it up whenever he wants to. Now, in this instance, I believe he got tapped out. And Luigi really made it the best of pizza. Luigi's got a great strategy, okay? But whether you want to love Luigi or think he's silly or whatever, and I've been on the opposite side of the ring from him more often than not, but I still have a lot of mad respect for Luigi because Luigi's entertaining. Okay, Luigi gets out there and he's flipping and flopping and spinning this pizza dough, and he's bam, he's delivering those hands, and then he's laying down and he's pinning this guy and he's tossing this thing. And so it's an old martial arts technique, folks. That's why you ever see the guys that are flipping eskrima sticks or running the bow staff here. I was always taught in martial arts that you do a lot of that stuff. You get people's focus on all of the spectacle that's going on. You coin a phrase from a musical, Chicago. You give 'em the old razzle dazzle, and while you're doing that, then all of a sudden, bam, you get in there and you take them out. It's brilliant strategy. It's fantastic. So yeah, another banger, entertaining match. So yeah, where does Armani Sage go after this? We've seen him try and do the team up with Jimmy House and Hit in the past, and then that backfired, and I respect the kid's tenacity. Listen, hey, Armani, you need a manager. I know how to throw money around. put the two of us together, I mean, it feels like hand in glove from where I'm sitting, but what do I know? Then we have, oh man, so we have KJ Orso taking on Bulletproof Alex Arsenal for, my beloved international championship. And let me tell you, folks, this was a great match. It was a good match, but it wasn't pretty, okay? It wasn't pretty by a long shot. And the only thing pretty in this match, of course, the bombshell Haley Danielle. But yeah, Alex Arsenal shows up with Haley Danielle on his side, and she cost him the match, more or less. He got distracted by a pair of big goo-goo eyes, really is what it amounted to. She got into a verbal altercation, and then she was where she shouldn't have been and got clocked. Alex Arsenal got a little distracted, and I mean, we ended up with a new international champion out of the deal. So again, watch the whole thing unfold on Title Match. I know I just gave away the result, but getting there is half the fun. You kids know that. So, next match. This match, I may not have gotten the result that I wanted to. I know I got a little braggadocious, and I came out and I did what I used to do for Casey Blackrose, and I told everybody that Casey Blackrose is the president of this business. He's like Casey 15 belts now, and former Future Legends champion, and he's got several belts that he's collected, championship belts, titles, if you will, belts hold up your pants. But these titles from different promotions across Texas. And, he's done more than earn the respect of his peers. And he went up against Khan. And I believe Casey and Khan had faced off some 3 years ago. And Khan has come from another place. Khan now part of Ring of Honor, part of All Elite Wrestling, and that whole thing. So both of these men have matured, and I wanted to see Casey break Khan's back and get a little retribution for a sucker punch to the jaw. And actually, there's a picture that came out, and I said to Casey, I said, this is something now that you and I have in common. We've both stood in the ring toe-to-toe with Khan and wound up getting popped in the mouth for it. So, another great showing, and it didn't go exactly the way that I thought it would go, but it went in a direction that I thought was great, and both of these men, from the looks of things, earned a lot of respect from one another, and I believe from the audience as well as the rest of the wrestling community. Make sure you go out and give that match a watch. Okay, this is where things get interesting. RCW Women's Championship match. What is it about the women's title that brings so much controversy? If you'll recall, we had the controversy a year or so ago when Callie and Tita stole the belt. I will remind everybody of this forever. She stole the belt, absconded with it. We had to get another belt, and then we had this whole back and forth thing. Who's the real champion? All the question marks. Callie came out on top as the women's champion. And so now here we are. Okay, we're what? That was RCW Mania, I believe. She won the women's championship, and that was back in April, June, July, August, September, October, November. We were 7 months into the reign of Callie and Tita. Oh, and then she aligned herself with the Texas Treats. So, out pops J-Wave with her. And, yeah, so then she takes on Ridley Thorne, who is a former tag team partner of hers from the Cholas, and Ridley is looking to win gold in RCW. She's had more than a few title shots. I think she went for the Phoenix title at one point. She's a RCW Women's Championship, I think a couple of times. But then they got the immovable force, or the unmovable force. How does that go? Anyway, she's big, mean, and just angry. The unstoppable force and the immovable object. The unstoppable, immovable, objectable force, or something, in SOS. Good Lord, that's a mountain of a woman. Again, she terrifies me, but she comes down to the ring, and all this stuff is happening, and she's just dominating this match, and then she starts getting dominated, and then some stuff starts happening, and then, I don't know, shenanigans ensue. J-Wave gets involved, And then all of a sudden, okay, my colleague is sitting next to me, Miss Carolina Teague, and who looked fabulous, by the way, in her green dress. I had a matching bow tie. And yes, we did color coordinate. But my buddy, my friend, Carolina gets up from her seat and then goes and she gets involved in this match, and then on her way back she falls down again, which if you recall she fell at the last show, but she falls down, and then next thing I know she hits J-Wave with the low blow and causes a distraction which allows SOS to get the pin. They start walking out together, and I'm like, well, that was crazy, Carolina, holy crap. Here, let me give you your cards. And I had her phone and stuff. I was like, yeah, all right. And she took them and she tore them up and she threw them in my face. Why? Why, Carolina? Why? I have so many questions after this. What was that about? Was that just an act of vigilanteism? Are you just tired of J-Wave? What is your affiliation with SOS? There's serious questions to be asked here, Carolina Teague. So, yeah, 2025 ends, and then, I get to call it again. Your new RCW Women's Champion, Yeah. I don't know. And then, Carolina just looks and says, there's your top 10 moment or something to that effect. Yeah, and just throws her cards at me and then just leaves me out there, just walks off. I don't understand. I don't understand at all what happened. Carolina, if you would like to come on the show and clarify these things, I would greatly appreciate that. So, then it's on. It's November, and that means it's time for a Survivor Series style tag match. One to settle the score, and this is what I can be thankful for. The Texas Treats, orchestrated by RCW champion Chris Marvel, have tormented RCW Honors member Ben Galvan, his company, and his family from Corpus Christi all the way to San Antonio. The Sharks are circling, but is blood thicker than water? The Texas Treats collide with the Galvan family at RCW Acceleration. So, we have a Survivor Series style elimination match, and it is a fantastic match. I don't want to give too much away. You're going to want to go see this on Title Match Network. But I loved this match. It was a lot of fun. It was very entertaining. It told a great story right down to the end. And let me tell you, I am thankful for how this turned out. If that doesn't tell you what you need to know, go check it out on Title Match. But I am so happy with how this match turned out. And then, of course, we get the send-off. I looked for the craziest fan in the audience, and by we went, and that was the send-off for 2025 for RCW River City Wrestling in San Antonio, Texas, and we're looking forward to 2026. I believe our first show is going to be in February from what I have been told. So, there you go. Lots to be thankful for this year. I'm thankful for a whole lot of things. I'm thankful for another year of life. I'm thankful for another year at RCW. I'm thankful for the roof over my head. I've gotten to sing this year. I've got to be the ring announcer for a couple of different promotions. I've got to do some big things. I got to meet, it's right over my shoulder, I got to meet Hulk Hogan just before his passing, his unexpected passing, and I met him back in April. And I believe he passed in, June or July, something like that. It's crazy to think we live in a world without the Hulkster. I got to meet Kevin Von Erich up here, and just, I'm thankful. I've got a pretty sweet life, not to brag, and I don't want to bring anybody down if you feel like you don't. But I thank everybody. I thank the RCW fans. Thank the promoters, Jimmy Perez, Brandon Oliver, Rudy, and I know some people will be like, "Wow, really?" And I'm like, "Hey, these people, I've been given some pretty great opportunities to get to live out my dream of just being involved in wrestling." I thank some of the great friends that I've met along the way. Like this has been a pretty fun year for me as far as that goes. I thank my class of 2005 for putting up with my shenanigans, and Amanda Carpenter for that awesome reunion that she helped put together. I say we do this more often than waiting every 10 to 20 years. So, that being said, speaking of schools going a completely different direction. So I've been trying to stay abreast of this situation going on in my hometown. And whoo, buddy, let me tell you. And I didn't really take a whole lot of interest as I don't have a dog in the fight, really, outside of it. I mean, it affects some places from when I was a kid, but I didn't go to public school that much. In St. Joe, I attended the Eastside Baptist Academy for a good number of years, but I did go to Lindbergh Elementary School, and I went to Pershing Elementary School for that one day. But Pershing holds a special place because it's right there, and I played in that playground when mom and dad would go vote, and then it's right there across from Kelly's house, and we'd play basketball there. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my friends are very, very upset. So basically, the way it works, so St. Joe is a town. The population, I believe, is right at like maybe a little over 70,000 people. And it's a blue collar working kind of town. It was established there along the river as a trading post. And over time, it's been, meat processing plants and various factories and things like that. And a lot of these industries have closed down, and it's left St. Joseph in kind of a depression of sorts as the money hasn't necessarily stayed in town at all, kind of went to Kansas City and places like that, because I think, from what I gather, old money kept new money out of St. Joseph. And so lots of opportunities missed, and so on and so forth. And anyway, interesting, like, socioeconomic stuff for St. Joseph. But for over 100 years, St. Joseph, the communities have rallied behind the three high schools. It's almost like St. Joe could be divided into three small towns. In fact, I think the South Side's tried several times. But these communities really rally behind their high schools. Not so much the elementary schools. There's always been a lot of elementary schools I can remember as a kid. Several have shut down over my lifetime. Several shut down even before I was born. I think of like Everett Elementary, and then Bliss Middle School, and there's a few other, the Washington School, the Rubidoux School downtown, which became this Missouri Junior College, Missouri Western University now, as it's known. But yeah, so I don't even know where to begin with the story of this. If you go back and watch my episode with Heather Sneathan, and I'd love for Heather maybe to come on and shine some light on this, but Heather gets a little wound up sometimes. I love her to pieces, but especially over this subject. But she's got a dog in the fight. She's got kids in this, and what have you. And she lives there. She still lives there. I do not. I just have friends that are teachers. I've got friends whose kids go there. I've got, just nostalgia factor. So anyway, I guess we need to start. Years ago, there was misappropriation of funds from a superintendent. And it got found out about, and then fingers started being pointed, and it was your fault. No, it's your fault. You knew about it. You didn't know about it. You were in on it. You covered it up. That kind of thing. So the people of St. Joe, again, it's not like a super rich community or anything else. Every time a bond, for the last, like, this has been going on now for 15 plus years. New administration, new people, new whatever. I don't know how many superintendents we've had since then. When I was a kid, the long-running superintendent was Dan Colgan. And then we got Dr. Melody Smith. And I mean, I'd moved to Savannah by this point, but Dan Colgan lasted on the deal for a long, long time as a superintendent. Melody Smith, I think, was there for a good while. And then after this issue, it's just been stupid turnover. We can't keep teachers because nobody wants to pay them anything, and so on and so forth. And so basically, every time a tax increase comes up, the people in town vote no. And on one hand, I can't say that I blame them. Who wants their taxes to go up for no reason? I mean, I guess it's a reason, but yeah, nobody wants, taxes are already high enough. Why are we increasing taxes? People already can't afford their houses in St. Joe. Drive around and look. Downtown is so full of derelict properties and things, and they just keep burning down every time you turn around. So, not to be negative about my hometown or anything, it's a fact. It's a fact. Drive around. Look at it. You can get on Google Earth. You can look at this. So we don't want this, but then, okay, we come along and we pass these little issues that give just enough money to, let's say, so these buildings are over 100 years old, and we've got a rotten roof, and we're going to put new shingles on the rotten roof. Well, the rotten roof is still there. And St. Joe is very much, and I have the same mindset, if it's good enough for me, it'll be good enough for my kids, and it'll also be good enough for their kids. And they like to preserve things. I won't even say that St. Joe is necessarily I don't know that I want to say the demographic of St. Joe is hyper conservative either. Like we're going to conserve and but when it comes to the high schools, it's steep in tradition. Okay. It's like a rite of passage. I went to Lafayette. My kids are going to go to Lafayette, and their kids are probably going to go to Lafayette. Do not tear down the original structure. Just keep building onto it and building around it. And then certain schools had different programs and yada, yada, yada. And I grew up in the Lafayette school district that this directly affects. So, having said that, people don't have faith in the school system in St. Joe, and I guess the school population has been dwindling. I don't know. I see the numbers that are put out by the board, but they want something. And then I see the numbers put out by average Joe Blow, and they want something else. So who do you believe? And I'm not there, and I'm only talking about this because it's my hometown, and it's just something interesting to talk about if you're interested in what Logan thinks about stuff. So yeah, we're just band-aiding stuff. We're putting new shingles on the rotten roof, and then the rotten roof finally, eventually, is going to collapse under its own weight because it can't hold up anymore. So they decided, they came out and they said, okay, for 100 years we've had these three schools. Benton in the south side, Central is dead smack in the middle, and Lafayette is over here. And then again, you've got different demographics for each part of town. I would say Central is more I don't even want to say upper class, let's just say upper middle class people, I guess, go to Central. It seems like the who's who of anybody goes to Central. If you have a last name in town and have done anything, it's like you go here. And that's not to discount Sneathan and Rucker, who went to Benton. And I'm talking about T. Rucker, who played for like the Chiefs and the Panthers and I think the Cowboys at one point and whatever. No, the Panthers was his brother Martin. Yeah, Mike. T is Martin. Anyway, whatever. Played for the Carolina Panthers. I've always called him T. Rucker. Mike Rucker played for the Carolina Panthers. And there's your wrestling connection, because the Carolina Panthers are owned by, Mustafa Khan, Tony Khan's daddy. So there you go. AEW. But anyway, he went to Benton. But yeah, a lot of your, I guess, upper middle class people, I don't know, doctor and lawyer kids go to Central. And it's always been stated that Central got all the money in the world because they had all the money in the world. Hands up, whatever. And then, so Lafayette, the north side is an interesting kind of mix of people, or at least it was when I went to school. I went to school at Rubadoo, and I won't say it was predominantly African American, but kinda ish. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the percentages are. It's an interesting mix of people in the north side. And I wouldn't say that they are upper middle class. They're more blue collar folks here in the north side. And then the south side is also a lot more blue collar folks. And it ranges from, and I don't mean this disrespectfully at all, I don't. It's like, it ranges from like your blue collar working man to the toothless guy down here that's like fixing your car, like he's the mechanic. You know what I mean? And again, I don't mean that disrespectfully at all. My people are South Side people, but they have a lot of pride. You know what I mean? Like the South Side has stupid amounts of pride. Actually, the North Side has a pretty decent amount of pride. Now, I won't say like the South Side. I think that South Side pride is something crazy, man. 238 is really great. I don't even know if they call them 238ers anymore. For those of you kids back in the day, you had like the prefix on your phone. It was always 816238 dot 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 dot, and that's how you knew a South Ender. That's just like the Savannah kids. You know, it was always 816324 dot 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 dot. Anyway, and then the rest of the town got to be like 364 and 279, and I think there's even a new prefix. But anyway, pride, and then Central has this weird thing where it's like, we're Central and we're better than you. Sorry, Central kids. Not to the extent of the St. Joe Christian kids, don't get me started. But so they decided, it's like, well, this is what we're gonna do. We have got to shut down one of the high schools. Gasp, egad, clutches pearls. Okay, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. I don't mean to poke fun, but yeah. And so then it's like, well, what school are we going to shut down? You ain't going to shut nothing down. You know, they threaten shutting a school down every time a bond issue fails and it doesn't go the way they want it to go. They throw a little temper tantrum. So there's that happening. And then I think this is the 14th plan they've come up with for whatever. And last I saw, they had approved of plan AB or 2B or 3C or who cares. They approve of this plan and they're like, the 3 high schools can stay. And then they immediately backpedal on the plan. And they backpedal on the plan and they say, well, we're going to get rid of one of these high schools. And then they have a meeting. I need to sit down and actually watch the meetings. Like, I go into these shows half-cocked with no research, but maybe I'll do a deep dive into this. I just want to talk about something because we're padding the runtime here, kids. But they backpedal and they're like, we're shutting this down. And then they had a meeting and the North Side kids and the South Side kids started yelling and screaming at each other from what I can gather. And the important part is the people came together and said, you know, do not shut our schools down. You don't understand. So let me tell you again, okay, let's come at this from a different angle. Okay, again, the communities rally behind these schools, right? In the North Side, everything is green and coated in shamrocks. Those of you that live in a small town, I live in a small town. I came from a small town, okay? Missouri people, we had the Savannah Savages, okay? And that Indian, Native American, whatever, that head, that logo was on everything. Everything is black and frickin' gold. That's how these things are. And the North Side and the South Side in particular, I don't notice it as much in the middle. I, honest to God, never noticed the Central, like, pride that much. Like, they don't paint the middle of town blue. But on the North Side, everything is green, and on the South Side, everything turns red. And we used to have restaurants called Ford's. If you haven't been to Ford's, go to St. Joseph and eat at Ford's. Get some cheese balls. Tell them Logan Pettis from the Logan Pettis Show sent you. Tell them I'm looking for a sponsorship. Every time I come to St. Joe, I want free cheese balls. Maybe an All-American. I don't know. Their tenderloin's pretty good. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, these restaurants, Ford's, they were themed for the 3 schools. And I think back in the day they had open campus and you could leave for lunch and go to the Fords and get something. And you can't do that anymore because now it's like prison. But no, so a lot of pride. And so anyway, they use that pride against the kids of the district, which I think is absolutely wrong from everything that I'm seeing. And they got them to fighting amongst each other. And then, you know, it's like, we are one district and we are one school and we are one. They preach this and it's like, I number away. And then they start fighting within the thing. Okay. So, and never mind the board members can't keep their hands to themselves either. There are a couple of them here a year or so ago that were slapping the hell out of each other out in the hallway over something. Something got heated. And then everybody's mad because this Whitney Lanning, or whatever her name is, doesn't even live in the district. Why is she on the school board? And I agree wholeheartedly with that. If you don't live in the district, you should not be on the school board. There's somebody in Savannah that I hear is doing the same thing. And if I get that person off the school board, that'd be fantastic. But yes, it's the same thing with Luling had a city manager. And the Luling city manager did not, like, he lived in Luling, and then he moved outside of the, and I'm like, as soon as you move outside, no, if you're going to serve on a council, on a school board, on, if you're going to be the mayor, if you're going to be city manager, if you're going to be whatever, you need to live in that city. You need to pay those city taxes, those city utilities. You don't get to skip out. I'm going to start in on city stuff here in a minute, because the city of Luling utilities are absolutely ridiculous. And then you've got people that like work for the city and are part of the city. Our parks and recreation person doesn't even live in town. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like, no, you all should be here and suffer with the rest of us and pay these ridiculous taxes and these ridiculous electric bills. Politics, folks. This is why I don't get political. So, this is the part of this whole thing that aggravates me, is the fact that this board of elected officials, they are elected officials by the constituents, by the parents, not so much the students, but by the people of St. Joseph. We elect this Board of Education, this school board. We elect them. We tell them what to do. The 5th of November is all about this, folks. Guy Fawkes Day. If you've seen the film V for Vendetta, they spell it out for you. People should not fear their governments. Governments should fear their people. The people are the ones that put them in power. We put these people in power to be our voices, to listen to us, to listen to you, St. Joseph, to listen to you, community of Luling. This happened in Luling as well. Same type of situation. We had a swimming pool in Luling, and yes, it was 60 years old. Yes, water was leaking out of it from somewhere. And could there potentially be a sinkhole underneath it? Maybe. But this was all brought about because lack of maintenance and foresight. And now all of a sudden, because somebody wants to develop that land perhaps and turn it into something else, we can't have a swimming pool. Even though the citizens all came out. And it doesn't matter. Bring in whoever you want to. Bring in whatever expert. I mean, if the citizens come and they say that, since they put you in power, and they come and they say, keep our swimming pool here and keep it alive, you keep that sucker alive. You know what? I mean, you just kind of got to stand back and be like, look, y'all want your pool if it like sinks into the ground. I mean, hey, but you voted for us. You tell us what to do. You want your pool. Boom, let's put it to a vote. The people have spoken. End of, man. They showed up with picket signs. They showed up with children screaming, save our pool. They gave arguments, I believe, and then the city council just went, nay, we're shutting the pool down anyway, and we'll see what happens. And my thought is right now, since they've shut the pool down, instead of leaving the empty eyesore, the hole there, they need to fill it with flowers, fill it with concrete, fill it with something, and, not make it a swimming pool anymore. And then it's like, how long before they tear down our historic clubhouse? Does the sinkhole not affect the foundations of the clubhouse? Apparently not. It all depends on what is the most useful thing at the time and, what we want to do with the property. So the same situation happened here. They walked into the school board, a bunch of parents, teachers, students spoke at this thing. They spoke passionately, and they said, please, do not shut down our school. We don't want to have to move to a different school. The program that I am interested in is only available at this school. My parents moved from over here to over here because this school has this, and now you're telling me no, you're shutting this down. And the school district just went, yeah, sounds like the Benton people are more rowdy, so we're just going to shut down all of the schools in the north side of town. Pershing, Roubadou, Lafayette, was it Eugene Field, I believe, Eugene Field. Gosh, I think they said like Bodie is going to shut down possibly. What they're going to do is they're going to turn Roubadou into like a mega elementary school while Pershing shuts down, and then Lafayette will become a mega middle school, just a huge middle school with over 1,000 some odd kids or something. I just, elected officials, again, you walk up to them. You have enough constituents to walk up to you and say, no, we want a 3. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if you want to tell me that we cannot necessitate this with funds and whatever. Just do it. Just do it. These people elected you to do a job. These people are your bosses. And how often do you get to go to work and tell your boss no on a regular basis? I don't think so. But, this happens in politics all the time, and this is why I get wound up. And I'm hurting right now for, my friends. Every time I get on Facebook right now, and all of my friends in St. Joseph are saying, F the St. Joseph School District. And they're planning walkouts and all this stuff. And I think they should walk out. Walk out. Do not get counted. In fact, if I were y'all, we come back from this Thanksgiving holiday. I don't know that I'd go back. I mean, that's an interesting and a weird thing for me to say, but somebody's got to show them at some point. It's time that we, the people, again go back to standing up for what we believe in. And really just speaking out. Nobody really does that anymore. Actually, it's interesting. I had this conversation with Brandon Oliver at the RCW show on a different scale entirely, but we're talking about the story of Vince McMahon, and he was talking about how he's kind of an old school cat, kind of like Vince. And Vince, there's the story of a guy in NXT, which, if you're not familiar with WWE, that's their developmental program. And Vince McMahon was the boss at the time, And he literally would intentionally step on this guy's foot all the time. I don't know if it's Titus O'Neil or somebody like that. He was constantly stepping on this guy's foot. And finally, Vince goes, well, damn it, aren't you going to say anything? Stand up. Fight for what you believe in. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. I am a real American. Be true to yourself, true to your country. Stand up and fight. Be a man. Man up. That's why I appreciate people like Heather Seathan. Yeah, she comes out and she speaks her mind. And sometimes she says some crazy stuff. But you know what? She gets out there and says it. And she doesn't do it anonymously. Now, sometimes she backpedals and takes it down because her mama yells at her. But I appreciate people that get out there and do that. I wish she'd run for school board. I wish she'd run for mayor or something. But we need people. Josh Hall is another one. I just tend to stand up and speak my mind when I'm told not to. But that's a whole other thing, and that may change here shortly as well. But I think I've said a whole lot in this podcast. But my heart is hurting for my friends in St. Joe who get on, and it's F the school district, and children that audibly cried when their school got shut down. And my friend Daniel Moss, who has to go now in front of his class that he teaches, and he has to explain to them that after next year we're not going to be coming back, and you're all going to be going to a different school, and we may never see each other. And it's a rough predicament. The custodial staff, are they going to reassign them? Do they lose their jobs? Are they going to have to, now move across town? What's going to happen? All of these students that are now going to be displaced and shuffled around to different schools. And I'm not saying that these kind of things don't happen, and I'm not going to act like this is the first time in history that this has ever happened, but it just sucks. It really does. And I hope for the sake of my friends and their children and their children's children, and for my town and the St. Joseph School District, I really hope that the Heathers and the Daniels and, I saw Corey Massey said something. And anyway, those people, I really hope that they will step up and really lead the charge and hopefully turn that ship around in St. Joe. And that's what I've got on the subject of a town that I don't even live in anymore, and schools that I didn't even really attend. I guess I just mostly feel for my friends, and I have a lot of pride in my town. Yeah, because I went to Savannah, but I was close with Benton kids, and I was close with Central kids, and I was especially close with Lafayette kids, the Lafayette class of '05. I should have gone to high school there, but we moved to Savannah in '02, and that's just the way the cookie crumbled. But these places, do hold a special place. Interesting stuff going on in St. Joseph, Missouri. If you want to check it out, check it out. Coming up for me, we got singing stuff going on. Check out my sister channel over there. The Geographic Gypsy, An Unexpected Journey is the channel. I will try and post a link if I can. You can see if there's right now, I do a lot of drink review videos on there. There's a video of me chugging maple syrup in Canada, and we have a whole lot of fun over there. I think eventually Art and I are going to start up the Magic Q podcast, and we're going to finish talking about Walt Disney World Resort here coming up very soon, so keep an eye out for that. RCW stuff coming up. We've got stuff coming up for Texas Wrestling Federation as well. Yeah, and Carolina Teague. I'd love to have you come on the show, and we'll talk about what went down at RCW Acceleration. So, for the Logan Pettis Show, I am Logan Pettis, and I'm signing off. Once again, thank you. I'm thankful to all of you out there who watch this show. Like and subscribe. Tell a friend that you got this zany guy that just talks about whatever pops into his mind sometimes and has some interesting guests from time to time. So let's see if we can get these numbers boosted up. And check out all the other stuff that's on my channel. I do some voiceovers. I do all kinds of crazy voices. I do drink reviews. You name it. I have a lot of fun on this channel, and I'm going to continue to have as much fun as I can until I can't have fun no more. So, for the Logan Pettis Show, I'm Logan Pettis. We will see you later. Zactionary, play us out with Boss of the Ring.
Yeah, baby, no one better. Texas crown on my head forever. Raise the lights, hear the crowd get loud. I'm the boss of the ring. I'm running this town. Face or heel, it's a thin, thin line, but all the glory's gonna be mine. Every bell, every call, I decide the fate. Love me or hate me, it's too late. I'm the GM, baby, no one better.